consumers from scams, fraud, and deception. To learn more about scams and fraud that target Floridians and find the resources available to help you avoid them, visit www.freshfromflorida.com or call 1-800-HELP-FLA today.
Randall Wiseman, Southeast AgNet.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Yeah, I'm that drip coming down from the corner of the room. But where did I come from? I'll never tell.
Bone Dry Roofing can and will fix it right the first time using quality materials and will deal honestly and fairly with you, period. You can find Bone Dry Roofing on their website, bonedryroofingllc.com, and Facebook at Bone Dry Roofing LLC. Do it right before your roof needs a tarp to keep the elements out. Bone Dry Roofing stands behind their work to help make your home safe and secure, plus they have financing available. Remember, if you're not bone dry, then you're all wet.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Beautiful looking Monday. Hope you're doing well. There was an article just this morning on MSN.com that was kind of a human piece, I guess you would say, and it was talking about how children typically or tend to follow in their parents' footsteps when it comes to their choice of careers. I did not do that. My father was a policeman, and I never actually entered into law enforcement, but my brother entered into he was a military police officer, and I've got a nephew that is a firefighter, so he's following in his father's footsteps somewhat. But we all don't do this. Some of us do, some of us don't. What if your father was a pastor? Would you follow in his footsteps? And what would your life be? Would you be rebellious and go the exact opposite, or would you be like Billy Graham's son, right? Franklin Graham, right? He sounds like he's following in his father's footsteps, what it looks like anyway. And what if he ever had that moment, though, when he said, I'm going to follow the devil or something? I just can't imagine it. All right, we have in the studio Robert Martin Bishop. He is here to talk about his book. I'm going to try to pronounce it the way you told me to pronounce it. Jetebais, right? And we're going to learn what that is. I've been pronouncing it wrong all the time. Robert, it says here you are a pastor's kid in 1960s Bristol, Connecticut, where you grew up. It says you speak German. I know how to say Ich liebe dich. That's all I know how to say. And do you have fleas? Hast du fleas? All right. My grandmother talking to her dog is what I got that from. You were an exchange student in Germany. Wow, that must have been fun. You were a retired high school teacher. Did you teach at St. John's?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay. You're a poet, a theologian. You love traditions and high church rituals and ceremonies. You love that stuff. So it sounds like you followed in your father's footsteps, or maybe not. This is a Christian novel that may prompt readers to review their own relationship with Christ and see where they may need an angel to guide them from sin. I do all the time. Robert Martin Bishop. Good morning, Robert. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
What came first, the title or the book?
Actually, the prologue came to me about 35 years ago in college as an assignment to write a compelling conversation in 100 words or less. Conversation with anybody or with God? It could be anybody.
Really?
And I just chose to do what started out to be good versus evil, and then it obviously over the years turned into God versus this fallen angel.
Yeah. Sometimes when I look at the world around us and I see the problems people go through, it's almost like, oh my gosh, if I had just paid attention to my Sunday school lessons, I would have had a much better life. We're so rebellious, aren't we?
We are, in fact, rebellious, and some of that is talked about in the book, in the novel. The novel is about a fallen angel who regrets his decision to leave heaven and now seeks to confess and expose Satan, and then the trick is to get all of this done, to confess to humanity and to the church and to God before Satan finds out what his plan is.
Do you think that's all of us?
What is
Do you think we're all fallen angels?
Well, that's one way to look at it. I think we all can be fallen. I've never heard that question before, so I don't think we're all fallen angels, but certainly we fall.
We've all failed,
right?
In some aspect. Some of us more than others. Some of us have recognized the need to do what is right, and others feel like what they're doing is right, but it's horribly wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
so is any of what we're talking about right now why you wrote the book, or was it just kind of something that you were compelled to do, building on the prologue?
I wrote the book for really two reasons. One was it's been boiling in me for 30 years, and it just had to come out before my head blew off. But actually, when I sat down to write, it just became something that I wanted to do to get people talking about faith again. And it may be faith in God. Most people do have faith in God, but it could also just be faith in the goodness of people, and the power of faith and the power of prayer.
Because faith is the remedy to worry.
Exactly. My wife has a great expression. She says, worry is the opposite of faith. And I just think that's a great line. I wish I used it in my book.
That is a great line. Do you wish you had written the book while you were still teaching?
No, I think things happened the way they were supposed to happen. Although a lot of the kids in my class will remember me talking about this book that was rolling around in my head.
And I was going to say something similar. I was going to say that my guess would be that the principles, the philosophies that you express in the book were already coming out of you in your lessons.
Indeed.
One of the things you must have that's a beautiful thing is that when you're working for a school like St. John's, that you're not obligated to keep God out of the classroom. You are allowed to. I've told this many times that I love biographies, but there's two types. There's the types that say, he did it, she did it, and then there's the types that say, he did it with the grace of God. She did it. The ones that recognize God's work and role in our lives, and we didn't do it. Donald Trump didn't do it all on his own.
Correct.
And I didn't do it all on my own, whatever I've done. But it's always with God. Every day I eat. This is the part of the Lord's Prayer that comes true every day. Here's my daily bread right here.
Exactly.
How many times have you had where you thought, what are we going to eat tomorrow? Well, it's always there.
It is always there. Somehow there's always something to, there's always the daily bread.
Yeah.
How do you walk that line? I mean, you're learning Bible studies in Sunday school. We learn different things, and then sometimes the discussion comes up about people of the same gender being together, how they shouldn't be allowed in the church or be your friend. Well, I disagree with that vehemently, because I have friends that are together, are of the same gender, yet the Bible says, you're not supposed to. So how do you deal with something like that? You don't want to shut them out of your life. You want to keep them with you.
Certainly you don't want to shut them out of your life. God loves everybody. And, the basic nuances of your particular lifestyle, you could make your own judgments about, right, wrong, and Christian, God-fearing, not, whatever. The fact is, God loves everybody. So, for people to treat people differently because they are the way they are is ridiculous. It's not for us to judge.
No, thank you for that.
I'm loving the conversation, but I feel we're not being fair to the book. So let's get back to the book. It is Jetebais. Are you Jetebais, or is the protagonist Jetebais?
The protagonist is. It's not me,
Okay.
thank heavens.
Okay.
Jetebais is a fallen angel, and he has come to a point in his billions-of-year-old life, when he realizes that, my gosh, what have I done? He is just so remorseful. And now he doesn't even care if he winds up being destroyed. He just wants to stop it and expose Satan and save humanity at this point. And as far as I know, it's not a subject that's been done before, which kind of excited me, frankly, when I was writing it. And there's actually also not another book on the market, I don't think, that has two living popes as characters in the book.
That's the amazing part.
It could be, I could be getting some interesting feedback. So far, the reviews are great. But
so you explore the idea that one of the devil's angels, I guess you would call him, right, at this point in his life, one of the devil's angels wants to expose the devil for what he is, and then we'll all be enlightened by it. But he stays in hell.
Satan stays in hell. Yes.
Satan stays in hell. Does Jetebais?
Well, I don't want to say too much and give it away.
Oh, it's a novel, of course. Yeah.
But the book starts out after the prologue, which is a discussion between God and Jetebais. The book starts out with him writing a confession, or actually dictating a confession to a sleeping priest who doesn't know that he's taking this dictation. And then eventually the priest wakes up to him and immediately trusts him, and they become partners in this endeavor.
So if God's wish for us is that we all have pure faith, then the devil's wish must be that we don't. The devil's wish must be that we worry, because the worry then turns us to things that the devil likes us to be involved in, like, I don't know, like what? Like
Exactly. Actually, the devil, for want of a better word, Satan, probably doesn't care if we have faith. That's fine with him, because then he gets to shake us up. He gets to shake our faith. He gets us to do things that a faithful person wouldn't be doing. He instills arrogance in us, and all of that probably just makes him gleeful, because now he's made, a child of God do something displeasing to God.
How do you strengthen your faith? There's a part in the Bible, and I'm terrible at quoting the Bible, but it says, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move that mountain. Well, how do you get that faith? How do you strengthen your faith?
I think we're all on that road to perfect faith, some way or another. I think actually even atheists are on their own road to some sort of faith. And to strengthen it, for me, it's just constant prayer, constant. If I catch myself worrying, I'll just stop it.
I like that.
Yeah, because so far, every single thing in my life that I've worried about is over.
This is why we like looking at old pictures of ourselves, because, it was so much better back then. But no, it wasn't. You were worried about something back then too, right? When you look at your past, you say, you already know the end. You already know that whatever you were worried about worked out, right?
Correct.
But there are some exceptions. You could
not everything works out the way we want, and sometimes that's a blessing.
Sometimes people can't stay away from things even though they want to. You do bring up Pope Francis in politics.
Yes. I look at it in the notion of clergy getting involved in politics in sort of a couple of different ways. One is, if you're a parent raising a child, you do the best you can. And if you've done your job, all you can do when they get to be sort of late teenagers is cross your fingers and hope that they make great decisions.
Yeah, right.
And at least learn and move forward from the bad ones, right? And it's the same thing to me with clergy. If the pastor or the priest or the rabbi does his job, then he doesn't need to be involved in politics, because his congregation will see the goodness that is out there, and through faith will work in society to make things better. But we've done such a great job lately of chasing God out of the schools. You alluded to that earlier.
Yeah.
And it's not even just chasing God out, it's chasing the tenets of right and wrong and moral and immoral.
Absolutely, yeah. I often wonder when they don't like the Ten Commandments on a government building. Which commandment do they not approve of? You know.
Well, it depends, I guess, on the.
I guess the adultery one probably doesn't sit well with them, but
yeah.
They do.
I love this conversation. You were a great teacher. I can already know it. Your students benefited greatly from you teaching.
Well, thank you for saying that. I certainly hope so. There are a few that contact me every once in a while, and one that really got me, gave me a smile was I got a letter from one of my former students that said I was the only one in my class that knew this word.
Oh, wow. Nice. Nice.
Little stuff like that.
Did you make up Jetebais? Is that a word you made up?
Yes. Originally, the title or the title character was going to be Jetebus, Jetebais, because it's just a name that came to me. But then I realized, given what Jetebais has done while he was doing evil, is whispering in people's ears. And it struck me that Jetebais means I kiss you, which I thought was just perfect.
It's interesting. That's interesting.
That's fascinating
So
stuff.
that's why I had to change the spelling, and now a lot of people will say Jetebais or Jetebais.
And you know, I'm sure you've noticed this too, that Jesus always referred to himself as I am.
Correct.
In French, je suis looks almost like Jesus. I mean, this one letter added.
I had never thought of that, but that's brilliant.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if it's brilliant, but I just agreed with you. All right. Let me take a little break. We'll be right back. This is fascinating. The book is I, Jetebais, and this is a Christian book. We are taking a break, and we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Sun mixing with some clouds today. There'll be a thunderstorm around this afternoon and evening, high 91 to 93. Partly cloudy tonight, low 75 to 78. Sun mixing with some clouds tomorrow and Wednesday, a thunderstorm around each afternoon, highs of 89 to 93. From the Photo Weather Center, I'm Heather Zayer.
Central Florida Eye Institute is the area's leader in laser vision correction. From high-definition refraction surgery and LASIK vision correction to custom cataract, glaucoma, and diabetic treatment, you can count on Dr. Crowley and his effective, friendly staff to provide you with the quality care you deserve. Call 352-237-8400 for an appointment or more information. That number again is 352-237-8400. Looking forward to service your vision needs.
FlySanford.com, Orlando Sanford International Airport. We are SFB. Simpler, faster, better. Simpler, with an easy-to-navigate compact airport design. You won't need your running shoes. Faster, with quick processing times from parking to plane in minutes. Better, with more nonstop flights to your favorite places. And new destinations are being added all the time. For enjoyable travel, come to Orlando Sanford International Airport. We are SFB. Simpler, faster, better. Before you fly, FlySanford.com.
Are you ready to be inspired? Are you ready to hear a message of hope? If so, join me, William F. Stiles, inspirational speaker, live right here every Friday morning on WOCA, 9:35 a.m. Learn how you are amazing right now, today. Learn to see how special you are. Join me Friday morning, 9:35 a.m.
All right. This is one of the reasons I love doing this job. I get to meet really interesting people. I mean, we have our share of doozies too. This is not one of the doozies. Robert Martin Bishop is in the studio with David Hedges. David is off the camera, off the microphone, but he's helping to market the book. Which quite often, when you have an author, the marketing of the book is like just a mystery. How you do that? It's a mystery to me how it's done. One of the things I wanted to tell you is that the phone is ringing. So if at your permission, I will answer the phone. You okay with that? Taking calls from listeners?
Sure, why not?
All right, let me do this and say thank you for calling. Good morning. You're on the air with Robert Martin Bishop.
Sounds very interesting. Could you spell the title of the book?
Sure. It's I, comma, and then Jetebais. But you can also go to robertmartinbishop.com.
Okay.
But with the caveat that the website isn't mobile friendly yet, but it will be shortly.
Well, it sounds very interesting. It made me think immediately of Screw Tape.
Oh,
And
yes.
Except that Screw Tape wasn't apologetic. He was always trying to find a way to worm his way in, or Wormwood was.
Exactly.
But thank you. It sounds like a wonderful book.
Thank you. Appreciate the call. So was this something you went through on a lesser scale? Not that you were banished from heaven, but did you, as a pastor's son, did you at one point, were you rebellious? Were you trying to go the other way, or not the other way necessarily, but just do something different other than
I would love to say that I was the macho rebellious kid, but I wasn't because I didn't dare. But in the 60s, things were very different than they are now with churches. I grew up watching the nuns across the street at the Catholic Church, not allowed to walk on the same side of the street as our church. And so it became quite the falderall when the city decided that the school bus was going to stop and go from our school. And the kids from the Catholic school were told they were not to be our friends.
Oh.
They were to be polite, to the teachers, but they were not to engage in any.
Really?
Right.
And this is in Connecticut?
This is in Bristol, Connecticut in the 1960s.
Oh.
Really?
Now it's vastly different now, of course, and thank goodness for that.
See, right across the water in Long Island is where I grew up, and I'm more of I guess I was in the 60s, and yeah, all in the 60s. And I remember the Lutheran church I went to, would walk us down to the synagogue to see how the Jewish kids worshipped. And the only difference was that the women showed cleavage. That's what I remember.
Yeah, they weren't that modest.
Yeah.
There was no fear from us to teach or to teach about other religions. But I don't want to intimate in any way that I'm sort of hitting the Roman Catholic Church. I have nothing but the utmost respect for the Roman Catholic Church, and this is coming from a lifelong Lutheran. But if we look at the Catholic Church, we owe basically the Bible to them.
Absolutely.
For putting it all together.
Yeah.
They existed 1,500 years before Martin Luther ever was thought of.
Right.
So I just, as I say, I just have nothing but respect for them, and they're sticking to tradition.
I'm wondering, how long has the book been out?
Since March.
I'm wondering, have you had any feedback from anybody? That's a long time. That's enough time.
Well, there are some great reviews on Amazon, which really, and I only know one of them.
One of the people who left the review?
But in conversation and emails that I've gotten from people and so forth, it's just been so positive. And one person, probably the greatest thing anybody could tell me is that after reading the book, he felt hopeful about our society, and he felt an increase in his faith. Just because.
Did your family read the book, and were you kind of nervous about that? Because sometimes when people are pastors and somebody that's not a pastor goes into the religious realm, they're asked, well, what qualifies you to do this?
Funny you should ask that. My wife, who is brilliant in her own right, refused to read it until it was published. And so that was always, come on, you got to read this thing, will you? Tell her. But I have another very good friend and sort of in-law relative who is a PhD in literature, and she actually edited it for me.
Oh, okay.
And she just did a wonderful job.
In the real world, when you hear about people who joined cults or maybe were members of Scientology or something like that, and then they decide to dismiss it and come and tell the real truth about whatever it is, and if you're a Scientologist, I wasn't picking on you, I was just picking one at random. So now I got some people mad at me. But I mean, that's almost like what Jetebais does. He says, you know what, this is not right. Let me tell you why it's not right, and try to show you how to do the right thing. So I'm hoping that the book does that for a lot of readers. I'm hoping the book says to the reader, look, you're like me. You need to get out of the bad thing and start to make good.
Exactly. That's my hope as well. Very definitely.
It's very sad situation out in the world because of ISIS and all the other people that are coming forward with total disregard of human life. I think this is a book that's very positive now that says that we should embrace human life. We shouldn't destroy it.
Absolutely. It breaks any decent person's heart to hear that, innocent people have been beheaded or a woman has been stoned to death for no real offense.
We've got 45 seconds. This topic and this conversation, just you talking to you, there wouldn't be enough time. We could do this for 5 hours, I think. What does it say on the sword, on the cover?
It says extra ecclesiam nulla salus.
What does that mean?
It means no salvation outside of the church.
Oh my.
I have a copy of the book, and we're giving it away. If you want a copy, it'll be signed by Robert. And in 15 seconds, Robert asked you off the air, and I forgot what you answered. Are you doing a book signing?
There's nothing set up around here, but I'm about to.
Let us know so we can let the listeners know. And listeners, if you want the copy that is signed, you call us right now. It's for free, 622-9622. Robert, Martin Bishop, David Hedges, thank you guys. Thank you both for coming in here today.
Thanks for having us.
Call us if you need the spelling of the book repeated. We'll be glad to do that. And share the video that we just recorded. We'll take the call from the listener who wants the book in just a second. We'll be right back.
Police Chief Gary Gardner, 170 cars destroyed or damaged. Donald Trump's criticism of the father of a fallen Muslim U.S. soldier still causing a stir. At the Democratic convention, Kaiser Khan said Trump had sacrificed nothing for America.
Hillary Clinton reacted while campaigning in Ohio.
I don't know where the bottom is.
Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort on Khan.
He is not the issue. We all feel sorry for what he went through. We have to stop the risk of radical jihad.
Republicans House Speaker Paul Ryan and Senate Leader Mitch McConnell praise Khan's son as a hero.
Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland. Police say the pilot of a hot air balloon that crashed in Texas was arrested several years ago for driving while intoxicated. 16 people died in the balloon crash. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Napa know-how.
Not all store brands are created equal. For example, when you buy Napa brand synthetic motor oil for $2.99 a quart, you're getting a quality product for a great price. Unlike buying store brand ketchup, good price, but with a funky kind of aftertaste. So pick up Napa full synthetic motor oil now for $2.99 a quart. The taste your car will love. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General States pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer expires 8/31/16.
Geico presents Kathy, the Candid Real Estate Agent.
As you can see, this apartment has crown molding, and yes, that's a working fireplace. Can't you see yourself curling up with a good book? At least until a pipe bursts, and then you'll need to replace your brand new upholstered sofa. That thing will soak up water like a sponge.
It's hard to know all that comes with renting a home or apartment. That's why the Geico Insurance